All right, so here we are again for our fourth meeting podcast. It's me, Carolyn, and we have Jamie and Tisha.
Hello.
Hey.
This week's is going to be about fornication. And it's not, how can I say it? We're not coming at you all in a judgmental sense. It's more along the lines of testimonial. Speaking of our own experiences, our growth, what we gathered from fornication, and the sort.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, the bottle stopped at me when we were playing spin the bottle. So I'm starting it off. So, fornication. I never really thought about fornicating. When I was having sex, I never looked at it as fornication. I never thought of it as fornicating. I never thought about fornication until I started growing and maturing more in the spirit. And I guess it was, well, for me, I think a lot of these topics are going to always stem back to that last person that I was involved with. Because that was when I started
A pivot.
thinking, yeah,
A pivotal moment.
having my epiphanies. It's like, oh, wait, what am I doing? But it wasn't enough for me to stop. It was just enough for me to, in the back of my mind, it would be just this, just mustard seed, so to speak, of a thought that it's like, okay, I'll be laying on my back thinking one thing, but my flesh was so much stronger than my spirit, I would just go ahead. But the pleasures would become less and less. And I would start feeling more convicted because I would be going to church and I would be praying over the prayer box because that's what they delegated me to. Or I would be at the altar, or I'll be laid out on Pastor Jackie's bosom while she's laying hands and praying, and immediately once I'm in the car, I'm thinking of, okay, I need to shoot this person a text message or call them because it's like, it's time. So in the beginning, it was just like, I just want pleasure, and it was about me. Towards the middle, when I first started going to New Beginnings, actually it was when I was at ABAC, and I was starting to see whatever change it was I was seeing in Tisha, because she was never really as sexual in a sense as myself and some of our other friends. And so just in noticing that.
Now, I wasn't pansexual.
Huh?
Now, I wasn't pansexual. What is
You
pansexual?
You still wasn't as, because
and that's the flesh to me, like you try to think I'm a square. But that should be a compliment, I guess.
That is a compliment.
Okay.
It's like you interrupted my
your flow. Sorry. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I didn't have to have it.
Right.
Okay.
But I had to. And it stems to a spiritual thing, because it's like some people are stronger than others. Some person can go and they can have sex one time and they never do it again until they married and they consummate their marriage. Me,
take a couple of falls.
It took a lot of falls. It took more than a couple.
Right.
Because even once I stopped, it was sort of like how Pastor Jackie would say it's peeling an onion layer. You didn't get to the root of mine until after that final fall, because you'll have your final fall and then you'll hear the voice, but it has to be something that you want. I wanted something different and I wanted to change, and so I started trying to latch on to, I guess, people who would feed my spirit more or less than people who would feed my flesh, because as long as I was communicating and being with other people who were doing the things that I was trying to steer away from, I would fall back privy to it. But even once I stopped The only reason that I no longer had sex is because, well, I think I probably started praying to God and telling him that I wanted to wait until he sent me my husband. I didn't want to be approached by anybody unless it was my husband. And so for me not being approached, because I don't even know, I can say here today that I'm not doing it because I haven't, and it's been several years. But it could be because God has me in this bubble. He hasn't released me to where I can be approached by whomever, because the false always come before the actual. So I haven't been tempted and tested. So that's why I say that this is just a form of just, I guess, for me, it's a testimony. As for, I guess, in the beginning when I was having sex, being sexual, I never looked at fornication and what fornication could do. It's like I would be told certain things like stay off your back, and I would be like, okay, well, who are you to tell me to stay off my back? Okay, then the next thing you know, because of fornicating, staying on my back, having sex, my hair would fall out, and it did. When I moved to, and it didn't grow back. My hair did not start growing back. It took some time for my hair to start growing back the way that it was supposed to grow back, because even when it grew back and then I moved to Houston, I did it again, the hair fell out again.
Now, with the hair falling out, what did you want to describe that on how you saw that?
Okay. I guess, okay, so for me, it was the morning. So it was one night getting ready for a party. I was throwing a party, and I was in the bathroom. It was me, Tisha, and one of our other friends. We were in the bathroom getting ready, and I was like running my fingers through my hair, and I was like, my hair is shedding. And then I was told to stay off my back. Okay. I didn't confront that person to say anything. I just said it in the back of my mind, like, who are you to tell me to stay off my back when we all are in here on our backs? But it wasn't until later down the line that I realized it wasn't her speaking, it was God speaking through her, telling me, I'm seeing an issue, I'm seeing my hair thinning, and I'm wondering why my hair is thinning, but not really saying anything, why my hair is shedding. You're letting me know. So it was really just you saying, okay, well, if you want your hair to stop shedding and falling out, stay off your back. Okay, well, that night, needless to say, I was on my back. And so I would wake up and the hair would be on the pillow. When I was with that person only though. So when I would wake up in my own bed, there would be no hair on the pillow. But when I would wake up, and I didn't realize that until just now, when I would wake up in that person's bed, I would be wiping hair off the pillowcase. Like my hair would be literally on the pillowcase.
Wow.
And
That's amazing. That's spiritual.
And so when I stopped with him, I wasn't done yet. I wasn't completely delivered yet. I mean, and I think none of us are completely 100% delivered until he calls us home, because we're always tested and growing, going through different levels of deliverance. And so when I moved to Houston with this one particular person, and I knew not to get wrapped up, but I saw other people hanging out and having fun, and I didn't take Houston for what Houston was supposed to have been for. Houston was supposed to be for me being in isolation and solitude, just away from distractions and working on my relationship with my kids and God. I went to Houston saying, okay, I can find my husband here. And it's like, okay, so you already went there with the wrong mindset. And just with the sneaking, and because then you open even more doors, and it's like, so yeah, needless to say.
That reminds me of the story of Samson. And, you know,
Samson.
and just how, you know, his hair was his strength.
Because it's your glory.
Right.
That's exactly what it,
Your virtue was like leaving you.
Exactly.
It was just coming out of you.
and it
by
wasn't
signs of hair.
necessarily physically, because it wasn't necessarily in my face, but people, although they did stop saying that, oh, your skin is so pretty, then I would have like these little acne bumps, because I don't
Deal with acne.
yeah, I don't deal with acne.
Some people
And
are
so-
blessed with just good skin.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's never been my issue, and so I would have like the acne bumps that would pop up on my back, and it's like, what is all that about? And it just all went back to the fornicating,
Or just always looking greasy.
or looking greasy.
Because in all the
I always
photos,
look
I'll be like, why
shiny.
she look like she hot and sweaty?
My hair
Yeah.
always appeared thin. Just, it was, when I look back at old photos, I realized how ugly I was.
Because you saw something else.
And it's like, I thought that I was cute, and it's like, you were far from cute. It's like.
Because you saw something deeper. Which is why some people really do get better with age as far as their looks. I know they say black don't crack, but I also think it's a spiritual thing. When you, I think any race, even a white person, if they find God and change their life and get all that junk out, they would also look. Because when I look back, I'll be like, ugh, I was ugly. I just
had a
looked at
dream
wow,
before
and out of
where,
control. Like, I just be like, what was that?
And it is true, because I had a dream before where in the dream I was able to see me on the inside. And on the inside, I looked at
Like a cigarette smoker.
craters, like
Yeah.
the craters on the moon, how they have like crater face. So I was like crater face on the inside.
Isn't that something?
That's deep.
I ain't know about that. We sometimes we do keep a little bit of stuff to ourselves. Like, hold on, that's how I look. I ain't even tell nobody that.
I did.
Girl, I got a dream.
And
I
was
like crate on the inside.
I was like, and so I had started praying, and it wasn't anything to rebuke, because I felt like that was,
You were showing you yourself.
Yeah, because I would be seeking God and asking Him, okay, why is it that I'm dealing with this still? Like, why is it this, and what is this? Like, what is this that's in me? And I need the Holy Spirit to flesh it and purge me. I need, just whatever. And then so I had the dream, and when I had the dream, I was like, okay, it wasn't anything to cancel a bind or rebuke. It wasn't a dream from the enemy. That was Him showing.
It was a mirror. But now, since we still on here, we're gonna move on in a minute. But so, do you think it came from where? Just were you sexually? Because some girls at a young age are just sexually what? They're just fast.
I wasn't fast. I feel like it came from when I was touched. Like, I felt like that spirit came upon me then, because he was always fascinated with my breast. I used to always be fascinated with my breast. I used to always tell people that my breast was my best asset. And in turn, I got the tattoo right above my
Which is why you hate
breast.
the tattoo now.
And that is why I hate the tattoo now.
So you got the tattoo why?
I got the tattoo on something that first off, I got the tattoo because I was like, I'm 18, and that was a stupid reason, because I had Asia. So it's like, really, who are you trying to prove something to?
I guess the reason you put it right there.
The reason I put it there is because I wanted to
Draw attention to the breast.
to my breast, because I felt like my breast was my
Look
best
look
asset.
here. Don't look nowhere else.
Yeah.
Look.
And then it would be, and I still deal with that now, with giving people eye contact, because he messed with my self-esteem. Like, I couldn't look at people because I was having this secret, because it's like I couldn't tell nobody what he was doing. And so it's like, it just, and I guess that goes.
Which could open up a spirit of lying.
Okay, so can I ask this question? So, and this is another topic, and I don't know if it's going to be too personal, but when you were touched, were you just touched?
I was touched.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
like he literally would grab
so
my
touch,
breast.
not any.
Not penetration.
No,
Right.
he didn't penetrate. He
Okay.
would.
Did he touch your
would
private?
He would rub my legs. He never went to my private.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know, go.
I guess the reason I was asking that, I was trying to see if that was the reason for you even starting to fornicate.
What started that? Like, I think it was a gateway.
Okay.
but it piques my sexual interest because everything is spiritual. I mean, we're spiritual beings. It's just like when you're watching a movie, you can go to sleep. Like, I have to be very mindful of what I watch and what I listen to, because I'll go and have a dream.
Exactly.
And so I do believe that he had me feeling those. Because it's a touch can cause arousal. Mm-hmm. And so regardless of the age, and it wasn't, not that I was aroused, but I guess just awakening certain senses and crossing boundaries that should not have been crossed. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you rub my legs, you are grabbing my breasts. He didn't grab them soft. It would be like a hard thing because it hurt. Because it's like, okay, I don't have nothing up there. Because at the time I ain't have nothing up there, but he would still grab my breast.
Were you a kid or an adult?
I was a kid.
Okay, so I guess, I was asking these questions because, sometimes, when children, before they even start having sex, when they are sexually abused, like you said, it awakens certain areas, and then it starts making them, it could go either one or two ways. It can make them pull away and not want to deal with people,
or it can make them draw to it.
Exactly.
Or make them, if they're women, it can make them lesbians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to like one of my stepsisters, her experiences. So she would come, she didn't have nobody else
with
that she would talk to. No, not with Papa. They did warn me, and they say be careful when you go to the restroom. And I was like, what are they talking about? This is when we first started going over there, and I was like, what does she mean? What is she talking about?
Be careful when you go to the restroom?
Yes, because he would peep in there while you're on the toilet. Like,
and the background to that is, Papa was your mama's boyfriend's daddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would go over to his people's house, and this is when you would get touched.
Yeah, because they babysat us. Because my mom,
and this goes back to parents know where your kids is at
all,
and who your kids is with. Because see, and back in the day, like my mama didn't have that type of spiritual awareness to even fathom, like, could this man be a pedophile?
Exactly. Because they didn't have to deal with it as much.
Right. Or it was hush hush.
Or you can't talk about it.
Or you can't talk about it. Or it's like, shut up. Don't start no mess. Or whatever the case may be. Or just not even listen to the inner gut. Or just ask questions. Look at the way he look. Or just, I ain't mean to, but I'm just saying that just backdoors to that. Because
and it is that. And look at what you see that person do different. And then eventually you get to becoming.
And don't leave your kids with people at the end of the day.
No, you shouldn't.
Exactly.
You really just shouldn't leave your kids with people. Especially at that age. Because men are sick.
And it's not just men.
I mean, well, yeah,
Women
it's in
too.
general.
It's not just men.
But, okay. Well, now the stepsister.
But yeah, I would listen to her tell me about her sexual experiences. And so that, again, it piqued my interest. Because it's like, just listening to stuff, you get the feeling different. Like, I remember feeling different. Because I'm hearing her telling me, all of the different, positions and whatever. And so I'm like, oh, like, I want to, that's, like, and so, yeah, I guess that's about it. That's about it with me. That's how it started. At first, I never thought of it as fornicating,
Well, no, it's not it. Because now let's think about baby daddy. You only felt to fornicate to keep him?
I only felt to fornicate to keep him because we moved. So we hadn't even had.
Did he ever ask you for sex?
He never asked me for it.
So did you just go to him one night and said, I'm ready?
No, it was just like
it just happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought maybe I was never pressured to have.
Okay. That's good. So that says a lot about him. I thought maybe he was like, man, what's up? When you gonna give me?
He never.
When you gonna let me hit? That's the word back in the day.
Okay, back in the day. So were you before him? Were you still a virgin?
Okay,
so okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wait, Super wasn't your first? I didn't say it. Oh, my bad. I meant Tupper. Okay. Okay.
It's not his real name anyway, so it don't matter.
I think we all have different experiences.
I told you that. You don't be listening to me.
No, I promise. I thought you was a virgin. Everybody that I hung with, I thought we were all like a virgin clique, and then I realized now that I was really the only virgin. Like everybody said, no, I wasn't a virgin then.
But I
with
only
the Six
did
Flags.
it because I felt like that was what was expected of me because of the foundation that was already laid with Papa.
Okay.
So.
And a lot of us do that. We think that we have to have sex or fornicate for whatever reason.
So how old when you lost your virginity?
Look, she's still
I was a
thinking.
teenager.
Like 14?
I was, it was right when I started my cycle.
Or like 14?
When I started my cycle, 14, 15. Mm-hmm.
And then you got
I wasn't
quiet.
at home.
Then you got quiet and didn't have sex no more.
Yeah, I was quiet.
And then you met
I
him.
met him. Mm-hmm.
That what me? I mean, so yeah, I mean, so that's just, I mean, so yeah, because it's like, well, I was just saying sometimes, like I said, you do it just to keep the guy. Mm-hmm. I think you need to keep the guy. He never pressured you for it, but you felt like I have to do something to bring him here, and then it just never went away from there.
No, I felt like I needed to do something to keep him because we moved.
Okay.
We left the city. And I was like, okay.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. And I was like,
I'm going to give him something to think about.
Yeah.
And hold on to.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then came Asia.
I think a lot of us think that though.
That's true, we do.
Especially at that age. Unless you just want it. I mean, some girls may literally just be like, I'm just a rabbit.
And you know, some people, some girls, women, whomever, because of their self-esteem, they feel like they have to do it to keep.
And it goes back to that because it was myself. Like with me, it was everything. Like it was a plethora of stuff because he literally damaged my self-esteem. Like he had me because yes, because it's like I felt like, why is he doing this too? Like why me?
But you weren't the only one.
I wasn't the only one.
But you didn't know that at the time. Or you did.
I knew they told me.
But you was still like, what? But leave me alone.
Yeah, like I literally had to sit in the, like I didn't want anything to happen.
You would
to
hold
my
your
sister, so I would sit in the middle when we had to ride with him because I didn't want anything to happen to.
And you never tell your mama?
I never told nobody.
Your sister know?
She don't know.
She know, like she would know now?
She
still don't know to this day? Tasha know though.
It never happened to her.
Big Tasha know though, cause she
They
did.
probably blocked out mentally.
So nobody. So you never said, "Mama, so and so touched me."
Nope.
I ain't either. But
I never told.
But do mamas even say, "Tell me if somebody touch you"?
She never said that. She never asked me that.
When I was touched, I told my mama twice. Both times that it happened, I told her, and she didn't do anything.
That's what
she said. She talked to him, and
was it her boyfriend?
Mm-hmm. Long time boyfriend.
And she kept him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, we know some. I know somebody else like that. They ain't gonna say no names,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
it's amazing how the
But I
thought
didn't
process
tell.
is.
Well, first off, he told me would nobody believe. Like it was, they tell you stuff, and so he told me would nobody believe me.
It's a special place. Unless they repent,
I
but it's
know, I
a
had a
special
dream
place.
about him,
You had a
so I
dream
know
that
where
you
he's
know
at.
where he's at, but it's a special place for people like that.
I know where he's at. I know where his wife is at. He's somewhere.
So he's in the pits of hell.
He's in the pits, and his wife is in.
Because he never repented.
He never repented.
I mean, that's taking a child's innocence. Mm-hmm. Even if you didn't penetrate them, it still can take the innocence.
Exactly.
And I think that's why I hated going over there because I did not like going over there. And I would sit outside.
Your mama never paid attention to your demeanor on the way there?
Attention. She never caught it. She never caught it. I would always say, why we got to go over there? Why we need a babysitter? And she never... Like, I think if my child would be asking it, depending on the age, I'd be like, well, why you don't want to go over there?
Would it depend on where you're at spiritually?
Depending on where I'm at spiritually, yeah. Because you do have to be...
awoke.
Yeah.
And not be so stuck on yourself.
99% of the people are asleep. Only 1% is...
Especially if you're young, if you're a baby raising a baby.
And not even that, I think a lot of people don't want to know the truth. Like, I think a lot of people, because it would force them to have to make a change, and change is inconvenient sometimes. And so you tend to block out what you may or may not see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have any of your girls ever said they've been touched?
No. But see, because of my experience, I always ask, not just the girls, but the boy. I just actually asked the little one
both.
the other day, has any, and he was like, why would you ask me that? I was like, mommy needs to know. I said, I'm not, he was like, and it freaked him out. Like he was uncomfortable talking about it. because he didn't understand why I asked, and I think that's what freaked him out. But I was like, Mommy has to know.
Yeah.
I said,
That's good.
Whether it's a man, a woman, a boy, or girl,
Don't be ashamed to tell me.
if they touch you
Your
inappropriately,
teacher, whomever,
don't be
because
afraid to let
I
me
would
know.
ask, because these teachers look weird, and so I would definitely ask. I even asked my daughter about her choir teacher. I was like, because the relationships with his students appeared to be a wee bit too friendly, but I think that's because it's him. But people need to.
People
be
are weird
careful
these
with that.
days.
They are weird.
Yeah.
And I think these teachers, I go back to that. The difference between a teacher and a student now in high school is like, the gap is like this.
Yes.
They about 20, they don't act like our teachers acted, where they were old women and men with glasses and gray hair with a book and a paddle. These teachers these days, it's like, are you teaching this?
Are you a student?
Which is why you're having so many issues.
Right.
With the
It's
teachers
like,
and the students.
And they might not can't get good people no more, because I think the teachers put up with a lot and they don't get paid for it. Maybe they can't find the good people. I don't know. But to me, I feel like it should be a huge age gap between like a senior, like your sons, or like your son's age. They should not have a 25-year-old teacher.
Yeah, they
It's
should
just-
start out when you graduate from high school. You should start out teaching elementary.
You
And
should
then
probably,
you work
and
your
it should
way
probably
up.
be an intern type thing too.
It
Like
should be
you shouldn't just
intern
dive
for
in
a
with no
while.
kids, because my thing is, you can ruin a child's life just
Yes.
by one incident.
Yes,
It's crazy.
one incident,
Yeah.
one word.
Because
It's like-
impressionable. Is that the word I'm looking for? So yeah. So well, for me, for fornication is, let me see. When I was 11 or 10, I went up to my sister's house, and her brother had a VHS tape. And we popped the VHS tape in, and it was porno. And we took the VHS tape. I took the VHS tape home because I like what I saw. This is 10 years old. I like what I saw. Took it home, and I would watch that every day. And nobody even knew that we was looking at it. So then all my friends would come over, and we would all sit around the TV when the parents is gone and watch this. Somebody should have caught that. Somebody should have went into the room and been like, what is this tape? Somebody should have said something, but they did not. And that is what, and we would act out the flicks without having sex. We would still act them out. We would try to act like, let's do this, let's do that. We would do everything that the flicks was doing. And I don't know if God snatched me from, but I just woke up one day like around 14, and I was like, ugh, I don't want to look at that no more. And I just stopped looking at it. But I still liked it. I still liked the porn up until I was like 20 something years old. I would love porn. Like, oh, look at that. But never wanted to actually act it out, but I wanted to watch it, which is so weird. So I guess I was addicted to porn. If I think back of it. I mean, if you like to watch porn,
Yeah.
then to me you addicted to
If
porn.
that was your
Right.
video of choice.
Right. So and it all started from just finding a tape over somebody's house that was just sitting there. They really should have been locked up. But and it just went from there. So I said, you got to watch your kids, because
Especially
kids,
where they're at and where they're going.
right? But I was still a virgin the whole time. I didn't, and everybody was having sex and doing their own thing. And I always go back to this. I know I keep saying that, but it was a different times when we grew up. 90s was a whole different era. We had a lot more leeway. We could go out, be gone, do this and that. I mean, we didn't have the cell phones, the social media. We had a pager, so it's not like your parents knew where you was at. I mean, it was their responsibility to know, but you could get away with a lot more. And we would go over all these. We were infatuated with older guys, and even now, like I was having this debate at work the other day, and they was like, R. Kelly's a pedophile. He's this, he's that. And I was like, well, you know what? If you're going to start calling everybody a pedophile, then that means that every guy I ever dated back in the day was a pedophile, because I was 15 hanging with 30-year-old men. Never had sex with them, but that was just the way it was. Like, everybody all my friends had older boyfriends. Like, I'm 19, he's 28. Or I'm 17, he's 25. I mean, that's just how it was. And then they were all selling drugs. I mean, that's just the era we was living in. But everybody was having sex and I wasn't. And then I started going with this boy, and he kept pressuring me for sex. We had been together for like 4 or 5 years. And then finally, we had sex one night, and it hurted so bad, I cried. And I was like, I can't do this. And so I never did it again. And I was like 19 years old, and I didn't have sex no more until I was like 23. But I promised myself I wasn't going to have sex till I got married. And I broke that promise. And so I always was like, dang, why did I break that promise? But I never had like you said, I never had a lot of issues with having sex. But what I did notice is that every time I would have sex, I would never get the pleasure that the guy got. And I was like, what am I doing it for? The only reason I'm doing it, I guess, is for him. Because I probably got an orgasm maybe a couple, I can count on my hand. And I think that was God saying, you're not going to get this pleasure. Like, I didn't get like how some guys like, I got to get mine. And that was never my case. Like, I would literally only have sex to please the man because I would never get the feeling of satisfaction that he got. And it was like, you know what? That's your fault for laying on your back. My whole deal with fornication was every time he comes into you, he takes a piece. He's taking your virtue, he's pulling away from you, and his spirit comes into you. And especially if they nothing in you, they are depositing spirits, personalities, and everything in you, and then your body becomes like their temple.
Exactly. And
that's the part that I so mine was more of a mental, and I knew what I was getting myself into, and I knew deeper like what this could cause, as far as having sex. And so for me, I would have sex, and then I always wanted a guy not to use a condom. Because I felt like if you don't use a condom, it's more of a connection. And that because I felt like if you use the condom, then I felt like you was just a hit it and quit it type thing. Like it was like, oh, so you don't look at me enough to. I was stupid, but that was my mindset. Like go and be raw, so I know that you trust me. And I don't know, it was just a stupid thought. But when I look back on it, it's all stupid. Raw or no raw, it's like he ain't your husband, and you done gave him some, and now he done went home. They roll up and go to sleep, dummy. And you still looking at the ceiling like, what the hell have I done? So the last guy who I was with, and then he came over one night, we had sex. I woke the next morning, went to work, and then he was able to just walk away, just for no apparent reason, just bye. And I knew then, like, I can't do this no more. So then I got on my knees and I prayed to God. I said, if you help me get over this, I will not have sex no more until I get married. And that was I do like sex and I do love sex, but I think the way I beat the after effect is just not worth it for me. And that's the whole deal with me. It's like the after effect, I just be broke down. And that's like, I can't keep doing this. So be careful what you pray for, child, because it's like, you know, it's over here, it's just nothing. But I mean, it's just, I'd rather do this and be at peace with myself than to not. So when people ask me, how do you go with that? It's like, well, when you think, I can't believe people even ask that question, because it's like, are you serious?
And remember when I told you that the hairstylist, he was like, sweetie, why aren't you concerned that, like, I'm concerned about your health. And I'm like, really? Because I'm not having sex? Because I want to wait until I'm married? Wouldn't you tell your daughter to wait until she's married before she has sex?
And that's what I told, so let's go back, because that's what I told the guy who tried to rape me. So I was touched as a child too. And I was touched by my mama's friend's husband. And I would go over there all the time. He wouldn't touch me all the time. But when he took me to school and see, this is just parents not being attentive to their children. Mm-hmm. Because she would let him take me place because she trusted him. She looked at him like a brother. Mm-hmm. And she would let him take me to the school or take me to go get something to eat or whatever. And so we'd be sitting in the car and he'd just be doing this to my breast the whole time. I'm just playing my nipples. And he'd be like, and then each month or each year, because when you're going through puberty, you start growing. And I know they ain't grew much, but they were bigger. They were like dots. And he saw them grow because he saw me from yay high. Mm-hmm. So each time he would see me, he'd be like, Tish, them little titties getting bigger, ain't they? And he'll touch the nipple. And I'm driving, and I'm sitting in the car like this, and I just look at him like that, and I'd be like, and I just look at him like, this nigga just touched just like whatever. Or sometimes he'd be like, that little cootie cat getting fat, and he'll rub my private part. Just like nothing. He did this for years. And I never said nothing, because I already knew she wasn't going to do nothing. Mm-hmm. But if I would have said something, my daddy would have killed him. So I think in my mind, I was like, if I tell my daddy, he's going to kill him. Because my daddy really loved his girls. He might have been the best father to his sons, but to his girls, he really did. He was protective, so I never said nothing. So now when I look at him and his life, his body, he is doing bad. And I think it's because of what he did. Because I couldn't have been the only child. And I asked somebody else who used to be around us, I said, why do you hate him so much? And she said, I can't tell nobody. I said, I know. And she said, how do you know? I said, I know. And we just kind of left it at that. I know why she hates him. I don't hate him, but he grosses me out when I look at him. Because at this point, I think I've let that go. But and that's nothing about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when you start having sex and start doing things, a certain spirit comes over you that men see. And they see that because one night I was laying on the couch when I was in the dormitories, and this guy hopped on top of me while I was asleep, and his penis was right there at my private part. He had moved the panties over everything, and it was right there, and he was trying to ramsack it in there. And I woke up and I said, God, what can I say to make him stop? And God said, tell him about his daughter. And I said, Bleep. Okay, I don't want to say his name, but I said, Bleep, you had Stoke. I said, Stoke. I'm gonna say his name because you had no business touching on nobody. I said, Stoke, if your daughter who was dying of cancer was to get raped, what would you do? He said, shit. And then he got up because he was like, she had to go there. But that was the only way I can get, because even while I was saying Stoke, he was still ramsacking it in there. Like literally ramsacking in there. And that's the night. And when I woke up, I told my roommates, they all said, don't say nothing. And these are girls my age saying, don't say nothing, because you're going to take this to the court. And then what? I was literally going to go all the way. They was like, don't say nothing because you're not going to get nowhere with it. But I said, he's not welcome at the house no more. He never came back around. But that next day, after I went through all that, I could hear God saying, it was your fault. You want to know how it was your fault? Because A, you shouldn't have went out to the club and got drunk. B, you came home, them dudes had no business staying night with y'all. So when you was sleep on the couch drunk, I was out, like I was like this. And he was just, what? That's your fault. You put yourself, I'm not giving him the leeway to do it, but a young lady should not put herself in a situation to be raped. Because that was going to be just flat out just rape. And God has granted me mercy that day by telling me what to say. I think anything else I would have said, it would have turned him on. If I would have said, no, he'd be like, you want this. It would have turned him on. So that's why God said, you got to talk about his daughter. Because his daughter was dying of cancer at the time. Like she was literally stage 4. She was on a breathing machine and everything. So that's the only thing that could get him to stop. And I think I saw him like 4 years later. And he said, how did I been in the store? I said, don't you ever in your life speak to me. You are a rapist. And I said it so loud, the people was looking like, who the hell is a rapist? And it was in Waco. So like in Waco, you're a rapist. Yeah. And I was like, you are a rapist. And I think I ain't never saw him again ever since then. But yeah. So that made me not enjoy sex for a long time. Because just that thought of that penis. Because even if I sit down and just think, I can still feel his penis coming towards me. Because I was like, he was hot. Like his penis was burning up hot. And I was like, I don't know. I think because he had been drinking too. I don't know if just the sexual tension, the blood rushing to the penis or whatever. And it's like, how did you wake up so hard to when you want to rape somebody who knocked out their mouth wide open? I don't know. But yeah, I didn't start enjoying sex until like when I got old, and I shouldn't even been enjoying it, but enjoying it enough to like it was late 20s, because my early 20s was just too many. It was just too many bad memories of sex. Why are you looking like that? Yeah. So, I think sad to say, I think almost every girl is going to experience something to where they feel violated. Almost every girl at some point in life, and 9 times 10 is around close family members who you would least suspect would touch your child or touch you. You wouldn't expect it, and people get in denial about it. So
Yes, that's true.
Because you never would have thought, if you would look back and said, Tish, you got touched by your godfather? They wouldn't even expect it. Or you got touched at your grandma's house, your grandpa's house. Yeah. It's just crazy. But God had showed me in many dreams. I would have these dreams, and in the dreams I would look in the mirror and my hair would be falling out. I would have all these wrinkles like a cigarette smoker, and I could barely walk like I had cancer. And he said, this is what your body does with fornication. And I woke up, I was like, okay, God. And I think he was reminding me, saying when the next man come along, please remember these dreams and remember what you experienced to where you won't fornicate, because your body literally just deteriorates with fornication. And I have read studies to where it's like they link breast cancer to too much sperm. They linked it, cancer in general of the uterus to too much sperm because.
And when you say too much sperm, you meaning with premarital sex,
Yes.
not with your husband.
Yeah, just a lot of sex in general. Different types of sperm.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying different sperms can stay, because they've had studies on women who've had sex with multiple men, but the baby would have different characteristics of all these men,
Right.
even though that's not the daddy. It's the fact of all the sperm that's been, I guess, penetrated to the egg, I guess, or the whatever. I don't know baby talk, but it's a lot of side effects to sex, to fornication. It's a lot of side effects, because it was literally only made, God made it that way for a reason. He made it that way to protect us, because it's really damaging to the mental capacity. It's really damaging to your body, what fornication can do. I mean, it's a lot of men. I know one guy who had back problems from having sex too much. He he had 10 epidurals. He could barely even walk sometimes, because he had so many what's a sophisticated word for nut?
You already said it.
Okay.
You did say it, but ejaculation.
Okay. Yeah.
Ejaculate.
Yeah. So the next man you're gonna have to just put a ring on it real fast if you want to have sex. I can't wait no year anyway.
Yes,
I'm
you
definitely
can.
not. Girl.
Wait,
I ain't
wait,
extra year.
Are you gonna get married?
Yeah, it's like,
You think we should wait?
I mean, well, I'm just saying, I don't think we should rush it
Just to have sex?
right.
I feel you, but
I feel like it don't take that long.
it don't take that long. But I get what you're.
It depends on how long you've known them and all that. If you just met them, I mean, because you really don't get to know a person unless you're with them all day, unless you're sharing space with them.
I heard that too.
You don't get to-
I've heard that they're two different people. It's the married life and it's the court life. And once you put the ring,
courting is totally different, or just dating without the sex. Because courting is totally different.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic.
it is. But that's just the moral of that is that it's detrimental to. I mean, then just think about the birth control that you take. How that messes with the uterus and makes you infertile. Is it infertile word? Infertile? Infertile. After you stop taking the birth control, it makes you infertile. You lose your hair. You can gain weight. All these different things because you're stopping the reproductive system of your body. You're going against God's plan just to have sex. So it's a side effect to even doing birth control pills. It's a side effect to rubbers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nothing. Yeah, I don't think it's normal for your body to be. I don't think your walls should be pounded with rubber. That's supposed to be.
It kind of dries you out.
Yeah, right. You're right. That's why I ain't like them.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like if you like me, you wouldn't use the condom. I sound just about as stupid as all outdoors, but that's exactly what I would say. Hence is why I could not just be out there having sex like that, because I can't be putting on tons of like this. Just not no. So I just sit here with my legs closed and just waiting on the Lord.
Yeah.
That's all.
the easiest thing.
That's just the best way to do it.
That's the best way to say it.
Because you
And
don't.
you have more peace. It's like it's more because it's more than enough to be concerned about and to be worried about, but to be dealing with something like that as far as letting somebody in your temple.
I can be strong as all outdoors with a man, but when I have sex, there is a wall that comes down.
It is.
Because
Yeah,
you become very vulnerable, and that's nothing. I can not fool with you. I can treat you. I can do whatever. But once I lay down with you, even if I still try to act hard, that wall has still came down. And now I'm kind of just
Because you're now spiritually connected. It's like,
yeah,
welcome to man.
yeah. It's like, and now he got control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No matter how much I don't want to admit that or act that, he has the control now.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Okay, so on me. I think just like, well, I think Caroline's yours was a little bit different, but maybe not. I don't know. But when I was younger, of course, I was touched as well by someone very, very close to the family. Were you finna say something?
I just want to know, but you probably finna already said, like, how did that affect your relationship with your mom?
So
But
this
you
is
gonna
a
probably
different
get to
person I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'll say it was around the same time.
Okay.
It was around the same time because my mom was with this person who I mentioned earlier. But then it was two people. Okay. Now one of them, they were only a couple years older than me. Okay. So they were a kid as well. And then, they would say the things like, if you love me, you'll let me. But it wasn't like they went in. It was more of a dry humping type thing.
Like a goose?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, fondling and all that. And then, I'm telling you, I was the same age. It was two totally different people. And then the second one, the one I mentioned earlier, the first time, so this was my mom's boyfriend at the time, longtime boyfriend. And what he would do is, like the way our apartment was set up, when he would walk through the door, my room was to the right. So if I was in the doorway or just standing right there, he would like grab himself. And then, he did that on several occasions. So I'm like, he doesn't do it. I'm thinking, I'm like 10, 11, 12. I'm like, he don't do that around everybody else. And he just only seems to do it when he see me. So, it made me think or wonder, like, what's, something ain't right with this. And then there was another time, same time frame, it was around Christmas. He was telling me and my brother, he was like, y'all sure look like y'all have gained a lot of weight. Y'all getting big. And then so because of what he had been doing, I watched him because he was like, let me pick you up, see if I can pick you up. So when he picked my brother up, he cupped his shoulders like this. He picked them up like this. But when he picked me up like this. And so at that point, so he grabbed my breast as he was picking me up. So at that point, that's when I told my mom, and my mom was like, I'll talk to him. So she was like, when she came back to me, she said, well, I asked him about it, and he said he would never do that. He look at you as one of his own children, and he would never do that.
So you lied, is what he said. Is she saying?
She's saying whatever I thought it could be, it wasn't it. So, of course, I'm like 10, 11. I really don't even think I was 12. So, what am I going to do? Just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Then, a few years passed by, and I was actually pregnant. And I was living with my grandmother, so I was 15. I was pregnant. I was living with my grandmother. And then, I'm on something totally different. I'm on the touching. But I think what that is, what I was trying to say by that was that's what, initially when he was doing it, I think that's what made me a little bit curious. Although he never did go in.
He opened the door.
Carolyn stated, and even the other one who was a kid. And I never thought that was, even though, there was no penetration, I never thought that would be sexual abuse. Because he never went in, and I'm going back to the kid, until I opened up and started talking to a counselor, and she was telling me that's still considered sexual abuse because you didn't want it.
It was consensual,
right? You didn't want it, and so she was like, that is abuse. And so,
and it's the counselor in recent years.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Actually, last year, as a matter of fact, that was the first time I opened up. So anyway, I just think that because of those. Actually, I think because of those, I was afraid to have sex. But I think around 14 is when I lost my virginity. And it was I think it was more so because I felt like I had to do that in order to be with.
Was he an older guy?
Yes. When I first had sex, I was 14, if I'm not mistaken, and he was in his 20s.
See, that's what I'm saying. But it didn't back then. Do you look at him as a pedophile? Because at that time frame, I wouldn't have thought he was a pedophile.
I wouldn't have thought it back then, and I was trying to think what I was thinking then because it was consensual. But now that I look back at it, he shouldn't have been interested.
Yeah, because
but the times were different.
Advantage of your because you were really immature.
You was a baby.
I ran away from home and I stayed at his apartment with his mom, locked in his room for about a month, and no one knew I was there. His mom knew someone was there, but she never seen the person because I stayed in the room. He wouldn't let his mom come in there for anything. And then
How'd you use the restroom?
If I'm not, it was one in his room.
Oh, okay, it was a house.
It was an apartment. But he had one in his. It was either in his room or right outside his room, but it was very close. But the way they were, everyone stayed in their room. So anyway, my sisters knew where this guy stayed, and so eventually they
caught up with you.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think that's what made me do it, and even to this day, like even as an adult, I never really enjoyed fornication. I always felt, and I've heard you guys say it too, afterwards, I always felt like, I mean, there were times where I actually cried after doing it because I was so convicted because I knew better. But I still did it because I felt like I was supposed to do it, and I felt like I didn't have anyone. And if I didn't have anyone, in order to, there was one point where I was homeless. I never had to sleep out on the street or anything.
Right.
But
you didn't have a home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't have a home to go to, so I would stay wherever I could. And so there was this, my best friend back then, and I think at this point, I guess I'm 17. My best friend back then, I would always go to wherever she was. Well, there was this one place in particular, she was staying with her cousin. Well, it was her cousin's mother's house, their family's house, and it wasn't a project, so it wasn't even a house. But they, she was asking if I could stay there too, and then her cousin or whatever, whoever he was like, "Well, if you want to stay, you can only stay so long, but if you want to stay after that, then you're gonna have to, you have to do something." And so, because I didn't have a place to stay, guess what? I did those things. So, moving forward as an adult, I didn't enjoy having sex because I felt like I had to just, I felt like it was taken from me. They, like you said, they take your virtue, they take your innocence. And so, I guess with my husband now, it's a little different. Like, I don't feel that anymore. But even before him, like when I dated, guys before him, it was the same thing. Like I said, I would cry sometimes because I knew
better.
I knew better. And, I would let all these guys use me. And one day, God was just like, you letting everybody else use you. How about you let me use you? And, every time I meet someone new before I got married, remarried, every time I would meet someone new, I would let them know, hey, I don't have sex. If you feel like you can't wait, then, you don't have to stick around. And this one guy, he was like, well, I've never had to do that, but I will. I'll try. Come to find out he was cheating. So,
That's something else. So wait, so you and your husband waited till y'all got married?
No.
Did
But
y'all,
we did,
did y'all
but
try?
we-
It was intentions?
Yes. Well, it was what?
The intention.
Right. We didn't, but we put it off for a long time.
Okay.
And then you got to be mindful of the things that you do, though. Like, because, the closeness, the kissing, and the passion.
That all opens the
It
door.
opens that door, yeah.
Would you tell somebody not to even kiss when you get married?
I would suggest it, but I try not to tell people what not to do,
right?
Because I didn't do it,
right? No, but I get that. But just out of your own experience,
yes, I would definitely.
Better. And I've been praying about that one because I kind of feel like that's the best thing to do. But I'm kind of I'm not a clingy person, but I'm a very I don't know. Like I play with your ears. I'm always
so is it like affectionate?
I'm affectionate, but not in a corny way.
Yeah.
But I think it could lead to
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So
Especially that's my weakness. Like if somebody's a really good
kissing
kisser,
is my and that's what happened in Houston.
Okay.
And and that's why I was like, because me and Tisha were having a conversation a while back when you were saying, so would you even kiss? I said, I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I said, but I wouldn't want to because I know that kissing leads to
other things.
Because kissing led to that for me. So it's like if it led to it for that for me, then it'll do it again.
So you think the kissing's what got y'all?
Right. I mean, not just that. We spent a lot of time together. The kissing was it. The kissing was definitely it. But we spent a lot of time together. We would cuddle. We would do something like that. Do those type
We
things.
need to be out the house. Is that what we need to be out the house? No movie night. No Netflix and chill because it ain't gonna work. Okay, yeah.
Now Now I would say that's real courting.
Right.
Because I would spend a night with him.
Right.
And I would be in his bed, even though we wouldn't have sex. It would come really close because of all that other stuff. The rubbing, the kissing, the whatever else.
You feel like so, but
if I real courting to me is maybe you're going somewhere, you're doing something together, but there's nothing physical.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You go home to your bed. I'm going home to my bed.
Call me when you get
And
home.
There's
maybe.
no
Yeah.
right. There's no staying up late, going out, doing no.
What do they call it? No nightcaps.
Exactly.
No nightcaps. Yeah.
Right. So for me, that would be the safest way, because even
it's
though
the same for me, because remember our pastor
Yeah.
said, because she's even, and that's why I was like, first off, God has told me that I don't get no more chances. So I hold dear to that. It's like he said, I don't get no more chances. Houston was my last, well, that was it for me. I pulled my last straw. And so the pastor would always say, okay, I would suggest double dating. And I know to what extent what she means with that now, because it's like, okay, some people just can't be trusted by themselves
With a man.
And
Or you mean trusting meaning some people can't trust themselves, don't
Can't
have
trust
self-control
themselves. Yeah.
by themselves.
I'm not my
Strongest self.
Yeah, it's like, because, I mean,
You a sexual person.
Yeah, and it's like, and you've had it before. So it's like, I mean, you know, you.
Well, see, you're the type of chick that likes to get hotel rooms, dress them up, like the spontaneous type. Tonight we're gonna have this and this and that. That might not have left. That might just needs to be suppressed. I don't think there's something wrong with that with your husband.
Yeah, it's
So if that's who you are, then you're like, I can't do that. So would you go out of town with your?
I would not be able to go out of town with him unless we are in 2 different hotel rooms. We cannot.
Yeah.
It's like today, what's today's date?
the ninth.
June 9th. It's like Sunday, June 9th. I am stating.
Especially on a romantic getaway.
Yes,
you couldn't
cannot
stay.
go out of town. We would have to be married.
Or separate rooms.
Or separate rooms. I cannot go out of town. You cannot spend a night. If you get sloppy drunk, you shouldn't be. But if for some reason
Some wine
you
in the
do
system.
some wine, you would have to sleep in your car. You cannot sleep in my house.
Because you don't trust. It's you.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's not the man. It's me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I just wouldn't be able to. I don't want to give the enemy, and we give the enemy too much credit. Because
Right.
that wouldn't even be I mean, I guess it is in a sense.
But
it's
you
like
get an
you
enemy
open the
room
door.
to open. You open the door.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, cause then my mind, I have a very vivid imagination, which is why I like to create and do a lot of different things. So it's like I can visualize a lot of stuff in my mind before it's even acting out, and so I can see, I can play, and so it's
And
like
then you can manifest it.
yeah, and
Because
so
you can
it's like
picture
it's
him
just-
closing the door, walking into the room,
yeah,
throwing you on the bed, and you're like,
Yeah.
now let's do that.
yeah, and so it's like, so to be on the safe side,
Just don't do it.
don't do
put
it.
yourself in those
Ain't
positions.
no nightcaps in my house.
Okay, we went off on a tailspin, but that was a good point. Because since you are married, that's why I was like, that's a good point to talk about that. About what were we talking about?
The touch and feeling, physical
Right.
part of it,
Right.
affection.
Before marriage, before.
Right.
Because I go, wait, that what happened in Houston. It's like, that is exactly what happened
The
in Houston.
kissing.
Because the kissing, it was the kissing and the little playing and the hugging, like any form of affection, and especially if it's something that you've never done before.
Exactly.
Because it's something that it's different, and so
You feel this like warmth in your heart.
Yes.
And it's like, and it's just, once you feel that warmth, that's it.
that
'Cause you're
is
like,
it's over.
It's over.
And so it's like
you went
now
to
I
a
gotta
sunken
watch-
place.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's
like I
a
gotta-
feeling you feel
It
when you
is,
get to
and
doing
that's
stuff
it.
like that.
And that's what happened, and I couldn't break from that, and so it ultimately led to that. It's like we went to the movies, came, and then it's like you hug, and then you kiss, and it's like, now why did you
Didn't go
kiss?
there.
It's like the sun is down, it's dark, so it's like,
So would you say you like sex? Or would you say you,
I could go without it.
even now, you can go without it all your life?
I can go without it. I have moments. It's certain moments where I feel aroused.
Okay.
But they come and they go. Like, I'm not very sexual.
Okay.
do
But-
you?
Would you consider yourself boring?
Yes.
No, I'm asking that as far as like, do you consider like I'm
Yeah,
type
because I don't, my thing has always been get yours. I mean, because that's what I was used
to, right?
Get yours and go. Because like you stated earlier, you never really had an orgasm.
No.
You were just
I've had
there
a
for
few,
them.
yeah.
That's exactly how I was. It's a little bit, honestly, it's a little bit more enjoyable with my husband.
Because y'all married. Well, number one.
Right.
But
right. And it's a different feeling from when I wasn't married.
but and then too, it would feel good to have that sense of peace knowing I've just possibly got mine and it's okay with God.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good feeling.
But even
I don't know if you got it or not.
before,
Yeah.
Even before when I wasn't married, it's just like, you know, like, dang, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah,
you know,
me
I
too.
know better, and I'm, you know, it got to a point to where I stopped asking God for forgiveness because
too.
I felt hypocritical.
Me too.
Like, you know,
I thought I was going to hell.
I couldn't even get on my. It was the point. Remember when I said I couldn't even get on my knees and pray? I couldn't even pray after that, and it wasn't even. I mean, any form of penetration is penetration. So whether you got it, he got it or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact was, I laid on my back again. I knew better, and I did it again, and I didn't even feel worthy to get down on my knees and pray and talk to God, because I was like, this is, you didn't, like, really? You done did it again.
Yeah,
I couldn't even look in the mirror. It took a minute for me to go to read the entire Proverbs 31 woman while looking in the mirror, looking at myself. It took me a minute to be able to do that after I did that last time. And that was when he said that, and it ain't that way for everybody, but for me,
everybody's conviction and chastisements are different. Yeah, as far as I mean, we are not supposed to do it, but some people are dealt with
differently.
Held
to different standards, and I feel like it's because of, I don't know, I mean, we all have a form of ministry. Not saying that we're going to be behind pulpits, but it's like, you know, however it is, you are either, you probably don't even have to necessarily say anything to a person. It could just be how you're carrying yourself or how you're just presenting yourself while you're waiting on God. It's like that, just being that visual person. And so I think depending on that, he deals with you different levels. And then once you open the door and you get other people in your business and you get to asking for prayer, I think it amps it up a little bit more too, because that was with me.
When people start praying for you, I think you kind of expose more. If you're seeking deliverance, it's a different type. Like if I'm praying for you at night, but if you're coming to church every Sunday and you're I think you become more exposed. That's the only way you can really get true deliverance, I feel like, is if you're willing to
be exposed.
And when you say be exposed, what are you talking about? Like telling somebody why you want prayer?
You don't.
No, like say
or just going to the altar and someone seeing you there every
say for example, like Pastor Jackie. Okay. Say for example, when Carol and her kids came to the church, I was already going to the church. When Carol and her kids came to the church, the church really started being more focused on Carol and her kids than anybody else. So we would spend some of these services just working on her and her kids, because that was Pastor Jackie's main ministry. It was deliverance from different issues, and a lot of stuff would just come out, and Pastor Jackie would know everything. She would know everything.
And God is a gentleman, so he wouldn't
embarrass you.
Yeah. And so, and I was never embarrassed, because I specifically went to that church because I wanted a change. I wanted something to be done differently. Because I saw the change in her.
And I think Pastor Jack was more concerned about the kids, but it just trickled to you.
Me. Yeah, because God still tells me today that it's not about me, that I was literally a vessel. He just chose me to birth out the kids. So,
yeah, I think, just going back to that, and it's of course off topic, but we got to be mindful of who we share our things with, because it's not for everybody. And I'm not referring to your experience, but
oh no, I didn't tell her anything.
And that's what I was.
I didn't tell her nothing. She just started. It was she just started praying and touching on different things and touching my stomach, and that was the first time I was slain in the spirit in life. Yeah, and that was the first time when I laid on her bosom.
Right. Yeah. I guess what I was saying. A bird. What I was saying that, I believe that God has, certain people that He gives certain things to. And if I go down for prayer, I'm very mindful of who I let pray over me. Because, everybody...
I don't trust everybody laying hands on me.
Exactly.
I don't trust everybody hands.
Well, and I don't even go down for prayer anymore. The only person that I will let lay hands on me is Prophet Sharon, because she is still
anointed. It's you'll know in the spirit. I think
know.
who you know can tell us. It's like, I don't know where your spirit, your hands has been. I don't know.
Because you do have to be mindful of that, because spirits do transfer, and people get to depositing and speaking things into your life, and you get to wondering, okay.
Well, it's witches in church too.
It is.
We getting a bit off topic, but it's witches in church, and these witches have been assigned to these different churches to cause the confusion. Just like, for example, if I go to Potter's house, I don't know how many witches have been at church, and I'm not gonna let y'all lay hands on me. I don't know. Not saying there's witches in the church, so if it's Potter house people listen. I used to go to Potter's house, but I do believe there are witches in the church, in every church. That's every church. I'm just using it for an example. Like,
people be on assignment.
They be on assignment,
and they are.
You can listen to witches' testimony on YouTube where they talk about how they would go into these churches and cause disruption amongst the congregation, sitting in the back of the room, controlling the narrative of what's going on, controlling the I don't know how they do it. I mean, whatever they little witch they do, but they will control the atmosphere and cause chaos into the congregation, witches. So yeah, I don't do the laying of hands thing. I'm like,
I will, but again, it's only certain people. If I do go to the altar, it's only certain people who are either I'm gonna be on my knees at the altar, or it's certain people that I will allow to pray over me. And again, I don't share with everybody what I need prayer for. If it's a certain thing that I'm dealing with, I'll say, just pray that God gives me strength or clarity or whatever the case may be.
And a lot of times, if they're being led by the Spirit, you don't have to tell them what you need prayer for. They
don't know. Well, like, prime example, when I first started coming to Pastor Jackie Church, she said, God said the babies are in heaven, the ones you aborted.
Oh.
I knew who she was talking to, because I know everybody that had an abortion, they probably feel, but I know for me, I really struggle and be myself. And when she said that, I knew she was talking to me. So that's the type of thing, where it's kind of like exposed, meaning she already knows.
Yeah, it wasn't I came to her and I said, Pastor Jackie, I'm struggling with fornicating and doing X, Y, and Z. She started tackling things at a different level, like, baby, the devil's trying to steal from you. Me not being mature enough in the spirit to understand what she meant. I thought she was just talking about financially, but it was on a deeper level.
Or she would be like, you've been touched. I haven't been touched. You've been touched. You lying. You've been touched. Somebody molested you when you was younger, and it hadn't even came out yet. But she would know. Okay, it'll come out later. It didn't come out while she was alive, but it came out later. So it's like, yeah. So that's what I mean when I say
exposed. And it's because she was praying, and so since she was praying, because a certain thing would happen, because it's like something would happen, and then it would be like, okay, this is why that happened. The Holy Spirit just told me you've been touched, and it's like, no, I haven't. Okay, well, this is why. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and pray and deal with this deal with this issue at hand.
But yeah, so, and what I always tell, I guess to close it out, but I always tell girls is to if you don't have sex before you get married, that's just the best way to do it. I tell my nieces that. I tell Asia that. Yeah,
I'm like and then don't even put yourself in a situation to where
you have to feel like at any point you have to feel like you have to give this man something. You need to pull back.
Yes, I'm even because I even was like, okay, you're away at school, you don't have a car. It's like you're vulnerable because you don't really have the income coming in, and so then you see this what is it, knight in shining armor showing up, and he's taking you places and showing you things.
You get weak.
Yeah, you get weak, and so I'm like,
it's just like R. Kelly's song. I'll tell you my extra.
I've been doing these things for you now.
You on the TP3 album,
Johnny looking like what? It's like that's
who stepped with R. Kelly?
That's it.
And so I told her, I said, download the Uber app. download so that you can order Uber Eats here and there. You know, if you need a ride, because I'm hearing his name too much, and it's like you don't see it, but I see it because I've been there.
Exactly.
And so I know what it can lead to.
Because nobody's above it.
Nobody's above it, and
Of
so
being
I'm
that, what being of having.
And not to
nobody's
say that I
above
can
having
prevent
sex
it.
before marriage.
Yeah.
This can happen
Oh yes.
to anybody.
to anybody. If you just, it could be a slip up.
Exactly.
It can definitely.
It could be so fast.
It can happen to me. It can happen, and that, which is why I said, okay, I have to be mindful of the environments that.
And that's
courtship happens
and so
in.
for your daughter, like, you my child.
Exactly.
So
And so I see it and I know it, and I center my prayers around it too. But it's like, I mean, not to say that it won't happen. For her sake, I pray it doesn't happen, because it's something extra unnecessary that you don't have to deal with. And so it's like, and I do feel like he blesses you even that much more.
I do feel like it. No matter how long you wait, I have yet to see a virgin that waited to get married with a bad ending. When I look at different testimonies, I mean, I don't know every one, but the testimonies I have saw, I think God really blesses. He honors that to the 10th power when you wait. Yeah. So that's the moral of the story. Wait on thus the Lord.
And even if you have done it, regardless, despite what the world may say, because people tell you that you're crazy, because it's like, okay, well, you done fornicated before, and you done had how many kids, and you've done this, and you've done that. It's like, I can always rededicate my body to Christ. It's like, because our body is a temple, and you have to be mindful of what resides within this dwelling place, because that's what it is. It's your house.
It's
and
your
do
temple.
you want anybody up in your house?
Right.
Do you want any kind of
You should
chaos
need
and all
one.
this?
Right.
Right.
One person. Okay. So, yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
Anything
See
else?
it's total.
What's that?
See it's total.
What does that mean?
That's it. That's all.
In Spanish?
See. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're
We're working on having a bilingual podcast in the near future.
So you want to go ahead and close it? You open
Nah.
it? Yes. Well, yeah.
You were the last one.
Mm,
Yeah, you opened it.
Did I?
You did.
so you close it. You close it.
So that will be it for now. Well, for today, the ending of our podcast, Fornication. As you all can tell, male and female alike, this was not a bashing session, clearly, from listening to all of our experiences. It's just, if you just want to aim to wait.
Yeah.
The common goal is to wait. I mean, the common goal is to get back to the foundation of how it's laid out in the Bible, and to use sex as it was meant to be, and that's with your husband, so that you can be fruitful and
even when you are married, you still want to keep the bed undefiled.
you do want to keep it clean.
Yeah. I ain't married, so I can't really tell nobody what to do. But I do think that God,
Because I feel like it opens doors to unnecessary doors.
Yeah.
And that's probably a topic for another day. Until then,
it'll be a one-woman show if that topic come on.
thanks for tuning in.
Who's married? Okay. Oh,
I said thank you for tuning in.
bye.
Bye.